What video game would you wish to play again for the first time? Morrowind, what a game, so wide and full of variety and opportunity, yet so unforgiving. Playing for days and weeks, not realizing you've sold or thrown away the package to Keys Crusades, only to have to start over again. Then getting into the main quest line for real, backtracking the very old-fashioned journal for the very vague yet important information until you get to Telfire and kill a Corpus Stalker, having to start the game over yet again, doing one playthrough for each faction, earning the respect of every single NPC of the game, completing all guild and side quests with no quest trackers, having Siltst riders and boots of blinding speed as your main way of fast traveling until you find the fortress teleports. Was this from the DLC? Can't remember. Putting a stack of coins on your W key to level up athletics overnight. Finding Umbra and getting the Umbra sword for the early game cheese. Realizing at some point in your 40th playthrough that magic has actual uses. Role-playing the shit out of a video game like never before. This is the best game ever. And to sound cliché for the occasion, I'd give anything to experience this game for the first time ever again. Absolutely. So clunky, but the unexpectedness of it all meant you always had a new surprise around each corner. The talking doors were amazing, so simple but gave you a great variety of challenges. The guy that makes you dress up like an idiot was great too, and kicking chickens around. Also, killing everyone to become an evil landlord. Little on the nose for 2021 perhaps, but it sure was fun. I remember when Half-Life came out. Back then you could still burn copies of gamed discs and use a crack to play it for free. Got a copy from my uncle knowing nothing about it. Up until then my experience with shooters was just GoldenEye and Doom clones. Just going through the train ride and exploring the office I thought, holy shit, what is this? This is different. That, along with Ocarina of Time, were the games that made me really love video games as an art. Diablo 1 and 2, especially the first one, I remember it being terrifying as a kid. I would wait for daylight to go to the catacombs and caves. The game was also pretty unforgiving. Dying would make all your items drop on the ground. The second was just pure magic. It seems so simple now as an adult, but this was also before YouTube, on which you had to just figure the game out yourself. There was no method to follow. If you trained your character and found out you put points in the wrong spells, you had to just remake them. Mana potions were not bought, so playing melee over magic had its pros and cons. The trading system was essentially old-school bartering. You just traded item for item. No one knew what was good, so they just collected everything. Oh, it is an undeniable masterpiece and one of the greatest games of all time. For Nintendo to smash it so far out of the park first time round in 3D was groundbreaking. The music, the game mechanics, the story progression, the level design, everything was so top tier that it seemed to be magic. And honestly, I believe it was because no game holds such strong memories and emotions for me personally. It was a wonder of its time and it deserves its place in gaming history. It brought this young lad on an adventure he'll never forget. Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. Went to my uncle's house for Christmas break. He had built his own PC and for 2 solid weeks I played the game for at least 16 hours a day. Had to go back home though and I never played it again. I've always had it in my mind to build my own PC, never have before, and playing it over again, maybe with some mods to update the graphics, but the quest lines, side missions, items, magic, etc. just blew me away like nothing else had. Edit, holy shit, I didn't expect this to blow up the way it did. I've been talking about this game for 10 years and nobody I've came across has played it before. Seeing this game get this kind of love warms my heart. Oblivion was a close follow-up for me. It was my first open-world game, and first RPG I ever really got into. I sank hours into it, exploring that world, doing quests and stuff. I wasn't really paying attention when I started, so I wasn't following the story at all, and would just kind of stumble into the story stuff at random. I also killed the Dark Brotherhood guy that first talks to you, and spent the entire rest of the game in his robes. Not sure if it was the first game that ever implemented it, but those seamless transitions in, out of the vehicles was so slick. It felt amazing being able to quickly hop in and out of a warthog or ghost to grab ammo or health, or to dodge behind some rocks and flank while your marines laid down covering fire with a chain gun. It feels so odd to say it now, but I remember getting in and out of the warthog in the second level repeatedly, and just driving it about over the lumps and bumps of the terrain. Plus, as everyone else has mentioned, the game oozed atmosphere. It just pulled everything together in a way that really worked thematically, and the twists of the plot worked really well, mechanically and narratively. Also, fighting hunters would be amazing to experience again. A case of just 2 enemies in an open area, yet still somehow being an amazing combat encounter. I love how the game managed to keep things so varied with so few enemy types. Man, my soul was taken the day I joined. My overall feel was kinda like a medieval Lord of the Rings type game. The swords, shield, suits of armor, white and black knights, goblins, wizards. You could be Aragorn, Legolas, Gandalf, Saruman if you wanted, with dragons to fight and all sorts of beasts. On top of all that, the adrenaline you got knowing if you died you lost it all, not banked OFC. I loved the merchandising, even being able to scam it taught lessons. Going onto the Wildy was the best PvP area in any game I've ever experienced, again just to the risk of losing it all. Dueling at Lumbee was also wild off like the original Champions of Champions going on all day. Then Castle Wars if you wanted a slightly safer Warzone was again fantastic. Some games should have just been left how they were born. It's one thing to grow up a game, another to change its identity. Oh, I still play and have subs granted, mostly just log in to do daily, but I'm almost 6,000 days old, haha, 20-year cape due in a few years. I found out about this game through Jacksepticeye's playthrough and I was immediately drawn in. I was so frustrated that he stopped playing it, but at that time I did not have the means to play it. I own a MacBook and I tried running Windows in parallel, but the experience was awful. I waited a few years and last year managed to get my hands on a PS5. Outer Wilds was the first thing that I bought and played, and oh, it was so damn worth the wait. This game has the perfect mix of visual artistry, sci-fi story, rewarding gameplay, especially when you actually figure out the puzzles for yourself, and phenomenal soundtrack. This is not just a game. It's an experience, and a truly amazing one. Anytime something reminds me even remotely about the game I get chills and my brain starts playing the soundtrack or scenes from the game. It's truly a work of art that left me speechless and in tears at some points. Thank you for reminding me about it. It's a game about wonder and exploration. You find out everything by yourself, no hand-holding. The first time I played it, I found myself completely immersed in the game, wanting to explore every single path, a thing I never do in other games. First time you take the lift down to City of Tears is gaming porn. Additionally, accidentally stumbling upon deepness and getting lost deep inside it, being unable to find my way out, and without a lantern, is one of my all-time favorite gaming moments. Just pure intensity and wonder, and fear. Was going to say this. Nothing has ever compared to this game in regards to the feeling of adventure it gives you, the exploration, the gradual learning of all the systems of combat and customization, the feeling of wonder its environments give off, and the complete joy of going to a new map and realizing just how vast it is and that the story is nowhere near over. Also, it has Gwent, which is just an incredible card game you can lose hours to when you've had enough of slaying monsters. In the same vein, I'd recommend anyone who liked Undertale to maybe check out Omori. Go into it completely blind, and to be fair, it's much more earthbound than it is Undertale. It's also a darker and much more real feeling with its story, so it personally hit me way harder. I was literally crying by the end, and I don't get emotionally affected by media easily. I found the story genuinely kinda inspiring in an odd way, but it's seriously dark, and not in a boring edgy way. So if you're in a bad place, I'd recommend maybe holding off on playing it lol. Anyways, for anyone who wants another really high-quality RPG Maker-style game, that's for the record written in English so it flows better than a translated true JRPG would be, I'd highly recommend checking out Omori and going in blind. If you ask me, I would also delete all my memories of The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. The feeling of the plateau, the graphics style, the first time you got to see the Blood Moon. All the cities were special too and got unique characters and quests. And of course the racks with their story, personality, their beasts and their music. I especially felt Mpha's story. It just was too sad to not be touched by. Which I really liked were the memories. They all were special and always make me nostalgic in the afterwards. So yeah, if I could delete all my memories of one game, it would probably be of bot. Edit, grammar mistakes. Okay, I'm going to be showing my age here. Ultima 5, Warriors of Destiny. Ultima 6, The False Prophet. Ultima 7, The Black Gate. Also, Heroes Quest 1, before it was renamed to Quest for Glory. Space Quest 3, Final Fantasy 7, Zelda, Twilight Princess, Civilization 4. That is my list of games that I would love to play for the first time again that I haven't already seen listed. Of course, I would love to experience almost all the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games again for the first time, with some exceptions. I almost forgot X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter. I sunk so many hours into those flight sims. Final Fantasy VII. When I was in middle school, that game was life-changing for me and showed me how games can give you an emotional reaction to your core. When Ares went down, I was shook as hell. Plus my older brother played it before I did, and of course we pretty much hated each other at those ages, and it was a great bonding experience for us, and he would always come downstairs and see what materia combos I was rocking, and I'll never forget he and I going apeshit when I finally got that gold chocobo. Knights of the Round and Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. I remember every evening after meal my sister would watch this series on TV, which I didn't like PC. It was very girly even for a 7 years show. So I would jump on my dad's lap together on the PC helping him, or rather just watching him actually, play this game. I found it super interesting and creepy at the same time, especially Rayman 2 I found very creepy, so we wouldn't play that one that much. But to just be 7 again and jump on my dad's lap to play Rayman 3 together, for one more time. Oh, what do I miss those times. Frown. Rayman 3 is still my #1 favorite game, and that would never ever change. Sadly, Ubisoft killed the character BC of those stupid Rabbids, which became more popular to where they're now even in a game with Mario and not Rayman. Geez, I could cry of how sad this is. I can think of many, but 3 that stick out are Portal, what a mindfuck; Portal 2, what a discovery of game lore and storytelling; A Plague Tale, Innocence, holy crap, amazing storytelling and gameplay. I was so upset that it ended. Edit, okay, have to add another game after scrolling through, that I totally forgot about. /u/2 must mention the original Must game. Holy hell, that was amazing. Unfortunately I was very young when it came out and was never able to compete it. I'd totally love to play that from scratch again, if possible on modern consoles. Never having played an FPS before, it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Just an adrenaline-filled joyride of high action, breathtaking graphics, insane weapons, and badass characters. And that was just the appetizer. After spending 8 hours trying to figure out how to connect to Wi-Fi, I played real people in online multiplayer. Blue dot my dot mind. I don't know how to put to words that feeling of the first time you got a kill and the numbers popped up on your screen. I imagine it's what heroin feels like. I feel like it's taken for granted now, but the idea that me and someone potentially on the other side of the world just competed against each other and I won, was mind-blowing. It was so intensely satisfying and addicting that I lagged 25 days worth of my life to it. And that's not much compared to a lot of other people. The guns were sick, the perks were so cool, Scavenger will always be my favorite. But the kill streaks are what sold the multiplayer. Predator, Chopper/AC-130. Unbeatable. That game just had it all. It got a bad rap for a while because of the failure to keep up with community complaints. But I will never forget how much fun that game was. until the second DLC. Best game ever. This will most likely get lost in the comments since I'm so late, but I thought I should get this out. It has to be Minecraft. I remember watching videos and the whole concept of building stuff and crafting was so cool. None of the stuff you see today was there back then. Simple vanilla Minecraft. I was in love. I remember watching a video that said to build your base on top of mountains, and in the night I'd hide inside and be so afraid of what's outside. Then I remember hearing about Herobrine and it freaked me out so much. It's not the same anymore, but those were good times, haha. It's a mobile game, but I don't care. Alter Ego was such a good game. The storyline and the soundtrack was amazing. My only problem is the grinding part, but you gather up ego while you're doing something else, so it's not a big deal. There are personality tests and it helped me learn quite a bit about myself. I'm currently trying to replay it to see if I can get a different ending, because last time I got the true ending, I think. But yeah, it's free, and the sequel Alter Ego Complex is pretty cheap. The Beginner's Guide. https://n.wikipedia.org/the_beginner%27s_guide. It's a game that explores the hidden struggles and endless possibilities of game development. Part of what makes this game so effective though is how every level aims to surprise you. You can go through a whole normal-looking level only to be shown that the game developer hid a complex structure behind the level's walls. You can visit a mysterious cabin and be delighted with one of the most relaxing minigame of chores you'll ever find. Even with subsequent playthroughs, there's nothing quite like playing this game for the first time. The entire Assassin's Creed series, because with every game you can see how far Ubisoft has come to make these games, making an entire brotherhood right in the middle of world history. The first game, literally killing off the Crusaders. The second game, the fucking Renaissance. Brotherhood, almost the entirety of geek history. Revelations, the history of the Byzantines. The third game, you're literally slaughtering redcoats in the American Revolution. Unity, the French Revolution. Syndicate, the Industrial Revolution. Origins, you literally get to see how the Assassin Brotherhood was made, and you get to travel all over Egypt. Odyssey, Greek mythology. And then finally Valhalla, Norse mythology. You are literally a Viking. I know I'm missing a few games in between, but my point is Ubisoft has put so much work and research into making a fictional organization in historic periods. A fun bonus fact, I almost tear up every time the Revelations main theme comes on. Both Red Dead Redemptions. There was a point in RDR1 where you come across a man crying over his dead wife just off a trail. The first time I ran into him, I thought it would turn into a side mission, so I kept waiting for the blue dot to pop up on the mini-map. So I waited, and waited, and waited. No blue dot. He just kept crying. Eventually I got off my horse to see if that would trigger the mission. Nothing. Nothing changed. He kept crying, wailing, bawling. I put my controller down and just watched. Was this a bug or environmental storytelling? I waited some more. Then he pulled a gun. I scrambled for my controller. This man was going to shoot me and I was going to die. Did he blame me for killing his wife? Did he go crazy in his grief? I pushed all of the buttons in a panic, fumbling for whichever one would pull my own gun. Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. It was my first online multiplayer game. I had a bootleg of it when I was in Indonesia, but my computer was a Pentium 1 IBM from '96 and wasn't strong enough to play it. My uncle gave me a bootleg CD filled with many Star Wars games, Rogue Squadron, MO, JK2, Dark Forces, Shadows of the Empire, SW Rebellion, etc. He gave it to me after my parents' computer crashed trying to run one of the games. I guess he felt responsible. I eventually came to the States in 2000 with my family. I randomly came across MSN Gaming Zone, and saw that I can play JK2 there. I didn't even know online multiplayer gaming was a thing. One day while shopping for school supplies at Staples, I saw JK2 in a bargain bin for less than $10. Asked my dad if I could get it, and he did. Saturday earning right before Saturday Scoop. I got it to work. All I could think about at school was playing the game when I get home, and that's exactly what I did. I discovered mods, Masashi.net, SPX Saber Mod, Narshada RPG, custom levels like Jedi High School, Oasis 2.0 and so much more.